Hello and welcome everyone. I am Anisha. So today in this video we are going to study about what books and burials tells us. Okay, so this is history. Okay, this is history, fourth chapter or of history, and here in this chapter we are going to learn about especially about the early Vedic period. Okay, early Vedic period, and see this first part, like what books tells us. This in this part we are going to learn about the early Vedic period, and where especially we emphasized on northwestern India. Okay, this was about the northwestern India and these burial sites. Okay, these burial sites, about this we are going to study about our South India. Okay, about South India. So here we are going to study first about the northwestern India first, and after that South India. Okay, South India. So without wasting time, let us start. Okay, let's get started. So here first you will see, as in history every chapter there used to be a small story here. Okay, this story is about Mary. So let us see what Mary tells us. Okay, so as the bell rang, the teacher asked the students to follow him because they were going to the library for the first time. See, all of us, when we are going to the library for the first time, all of us are very excited, isn't it? Like, how does the library look and what type of books will be there? So with that various curiosity and excitement, Mary also went inside the library following her teacher. Okay, so when Mary stepped inside, she found that the library was much larger than their classroom, and there were so many shelves all full of books. And she was like, when she entered the library, she was, the first thing that comes into her mind was that, okay, this library is very much larger than my classroom, and there were so many shelves all full of books. So in one corner was cupboard filled with large old volumes. Seeing her trying to open the cupboard, the teacher said, so when Mary was trying to open a cupboard which was filled with large and old volumes, okay, that means old books that is related with the Vedic. Okay, so the teacher said, that cupboard has very special books on different religions. Did you know that we have a set of Vedas? So here, what are Vedas? Mary wondered. Okay, so now Mary wondered, okay, what are these Vedas? So here in this chapter, on the first part, especially what books tells us, okay, this about burial, this will be from about the South India, okay, South Indian part, and these books especially about this Vedic literature. We have got the sources of this Vedic literature, especially the archaeologists. Okay, archaeologists and scientists, they have got this source of Vedic literature from the northwestern India. Okay, northern western India, especially the North India. So here we are going to study about the early Vedic, not about the later Vedic which was little developed, but here we are going to emphasize about the early Vedic period. Okay, so let's start. One of the oldest literary source in the world. So Vedic, okay, this Vedas is one of the oldest literary sources in the world, which tells us about our history. Okay, about our history. See, it is only through the source or through the inscriptions that, as we have learned in our first chapter, that there are some sources through which we used to know about our history, isn't it? Like those were the some of the sources are the palm leaves, isn't it? The manuscripts, about our inscriptions, and about the archaeological sources, isn't it, from the remains of the buildings. So from that only we came to know about our history. Otherwise no person is alive of that time, isn't it? No person is alive of that time to tell us about those period. So how do we came to know about our history? Through the sources. So this source that we are going to learn here is one of the oldest literary source. This was a written form. Okay, we have found this in written form, first written form source that we have found, and we got to know so many things about our history. And this also not like some only 1/4 of the part was been found. Okay, most of the other literary source, as we have learned in our first chapter, that which was written in palm leaves, as those during those time there were no books, isn't it? There were no papers, there were no printing machines that they are going to print and keep. So everything was written in palm leaves, and with time what happens, those palm leaves got decomposed, many of them were been eaten away by the insects, isn't it? So because of that only some are remaining with us, and through that some resources, through that some literary sources, we got to know so many things about history. So imagine what we will know that more about history if all the sources were alive, isn't it, or if all the literary sources were alive. But here we have with those literary sources also we came to know so many things about history. So let us see about some about the Vedas, okay, what they have found. This is about the early Vedic age, okay, this is about the early Vedic age, all right, early Vedic age or period, early Vedic age or period. On the later part of the books, okay, on the other chapters, you will learn about the later Vedic period also, which will be more organized. But here in this early Vedic period, it is not that organized. Okay, so there are 4 of them. Okay, as we all of us know that there are 4 types of Veda, isn't it? Those are the Rigveda, Samaved, Yajurved, and Atharvaved. And the oldest among them is the Rigveda. So here we are going to deal with this Rigveda, one of the earliest Vedic period. Okay, and the oldest Veda is the Rigveda, composed about 3,500 years ago. See, 3,500 years ago. And this Rigveda includes more than 1,000 hymns. What are hymns? Mantras. Okay, these were in the form of like these were written by the sage. Okay, by the rishis. So these were all in the form of mantras, and in mantras also you will found that they are in form of dialogues. So they were called as sukt or wailshed. So these hymns are in praise of various gods and goddesses. 3 gods are especially important. So these mantras, these hymns which were written in the Rigveda, they were all about some praises about the gods and the goddesses. Okay, especially some 3 gods were been mentioned here. 3 gods are been important here. First is the Agni, that is the god of fire. Isn't it? Today also there are yags, isn't it? Yags and yagnas which is performed in front of fires, or when we perform any kind of pujas or anything where fire is been needed, isn't it? So during that, this importance come from those period. Okay, if you start relating, then you will come to know that why this culture we are still following. These all cultures come from this Vedic age. Okay, from that period time. So Agni, that is the god of fire. Next is Indra, a warrior god. Say about Indra, you have heard that Indra is the god of warrior, isn't it? He was the one who used to lead wars during during the mythological period. Okay, in the mythological book you will come to know that Indra is a god which leads about war, isn't it? So he was known as the warrior god. And Soma, okay, a plant from which a special drink was prepared. See, I hope you have heard about the somras. By drinking that somras, it was been believed that you look more younger and youthful, isn't it? As there were on these somras, there were so many types of antioxidants that reverse our body, okay, that make our body look more younger. And they used to prepare this somras by using the water of Saraswati river and various other herbs, okay, including various other herbs. And this somras was available to only some few group of people, not to everyone, especially those leaders and all of the later Vedic period or during the mythology. Okay, so this was that plan. Okay, that is why this importance has been given to this special drink. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So first is the god of fire, and second is the Indra, the warrior god, and third is the Som. Okay, so these hymns were composed by sages. So these hymns, these mantras which were written in the Rigveda were composed by the rishis, okay, by these sages. Priest taught students to recite and memorize each syllable, words and sentence beat by beat with great care. See, as it was not written during that time when this was first composed, it was not written. Okay, it was not written at all. Only they have written this after so many years in palm leaves also. Okay, after so many years, because when they first composed these hymns, it was not written, as they don't have any source to write down, as they don't have pen or pencil or papers or anything. Okay, so everything was been composed, and they taught their student, this priest okay, which later they came to be the Brahmins, isn't it? So they taught their students to recite and memorize everything. Okay, they have to memorize, and this was being taught very carefully, word by word, sentence by sentence, bit by bit. That means you have to remember everything whatever your teacher have taught you. And why you have to remember? Because you are the one who is going to pass that knowledge again to the other generation. So for that purpose, this was being taught word by word, sentence by sentence, bit by bit, with great care. Most of the hymns were composed, taught and learned by men. See, what does this show? This shows that there was a patriarchal form of society, isn't it? So most of the hymns were being composed and taught and learned by men. A few of them were composed by women also. So the Rigveda is in old or Vedic Sanskrit, which is different from the Sanskrit that you learn in school these days. So the Rigveda, this language in which this Rigveda was written, it was Sanskrit, but it is the old form of Sanskrit. It will be similar, okay, but it is not same as the Sanskrit which you are learning now these days in your school. Okay, so it was a language changes with times, isn't it? There are certain words and syllables which changes with times. So for example, in English also, if you see the works of Shakespeare, you will see there are so many words that he have used which we don't use anymore these days. Their words are been, many of the words are been modernized now, isn't it? It has been new words have taken their place. So just like that, in Sanskrit also, during those time, the most of the words we don't use in today's Sanskrit, but we cannot say that it is not similar at all. It is similar but little different from what we have learned these days. Okay, so this was a little introduction about the Rigveda. Okay, so next let us see. Okay, next, before going that, let us complete this paragraph and let us see something more about our language, okay, about Sanskrit related with that. So the book we used, see, the books we use are written and printed. See, this is what I have told you, isn't it? Now we have written books, printed books, everything, whatever comes in our mind, we used to write down. We have pen to write, isn't it? But during that time, it was not like that. No printing machines was there, no papers was invented, nothing was there. It was, we are talking about, say, 3,500 years ago. So just imagine, isn't it? The Rigveda was recited and heard rather than read. So it was recited and heard, and they tried to memorize. Okay, it was written down several centuries after it was first composed and printed less than 200 years ago. So it was written down into palm leaves also after several centuries. Okay, about 1500 years ago. Okay, about 1500 years ago, and it was been printed less than 200 years ago. So it means very, like, only 200 years before this Rigveda were been printed and were been preserved properly. Okay, so before going into our next topic, that is how historians study the Rigveda, let us see about our language and their similarities with other languages, that is especially with Sanskrit and other language. Okay, Sanskrit is a part of a family of language known as Indo-European. Indo here means India. Okay, Indo-European. Indo here means India. And some Indian languages such as Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri and Sindhi, Asian languages such as Persian, and many European languages such as English, French, German, Greek, Italian and Spanish belong to this family. So all of these language, okay, this belong to this Indo-European family. Okay, Indo-European family. And among this language, okay, among this language you will find there are certain words which are similar, especially the origin words. Okay, they are similar. Okay, and that is why they are called family. So they are called a family because they originally had the word in common. They have so many words, the origin of the words which are used, which are common. Okay, for example, let us see here. Take the word matra. See, matra is a Sanskrit word, but from matra, ma, isn't it? In Hindi, ma means mother. So here again in English, say mother. So the origin of the word, it is from Sanskrit, that is matra. From here Hindi word came ma, isn't it? And after that Sanskrit, mother. So all of them have these similar origin words. So that is why all these languages are under which category? Under Indo-European category. So other language also are there. Okay, especially this, okay, yes, other language used in this subcontinent belongs, see, subcontinent, I hope you remember what is subcontinent and why you are calling India a subcontinent, because we are learning about that India which was not divided before. There was no partition, there was no Pakistan, there was no Afghanistan, there was no Bangladesh, there was no Nepal. Every parts was under every part was India, isn't it? That is why we are considering it as a subcontinent. So belong to different families. For instance, those used in northeast belong to the Tibeto-Burman family. So in the northeast, the language which they use, that language belong to the Tibeto-Burman family. Okay, and in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam belongs to the Dravidian family. Okay, these are language of the south, isn't it? South India, isn't it? So the Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, this all belongs to which family? Dravidian family. And the language spoken in Jharkhand and parts of central India belongs to the Austro-Asiatic family. Okay, Austro-Asiatic family, especially these are countries of the South and Southeast Asia, okay, which includes Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Maldives. Okay, so they belong to this language. Okay, they belong to this family. So from here what we came to know about our Sanskrit and other languages. Okay, so let us continue our chapter, our topic, that is how historians study the Rigveda. As we were learning about the Rigveda, isn't it, about the Rigveda? So now let us see how historians have studied the Rigveda. See, they have found the source, so how they are going to study. Historians, like the archaeologists, find out about the past, but in addition to material remains. See, in our previous chapter, if you remember, we have studied about the material remains. For example, in the earliest cities, the Great Bath, isn't it? The Great Bath, the buildings, the drainage system, and before that also there were so many areas through which we got so many remains of bones of animals, isn't it? Remains of plants. So from there, those material we came to know about our history, isn't it? That like what people ate, what kind of people, what kind of clothes people have wore, what kind of language they have worn, what kind of language they have speak. So from that we came to know. So here in this, apart from that, they have made some written sources as well, isn't it? They examine some written sources, especially about this Rigveda, study of Rigveda. So some of the hymn in the Rigveda are in the form of dialogue. So what they have observed here, see, in the Rigveda, some of the hymns, that is the mantras, isn't it, which are in the forms of dialogues, like when two people are conversing with each other, that means it becomes a dialogue, isn't it? Like in your chapters also in English especially, you will find chapters where there are dialogues between 2 or 3 persons. Let's say, for example, Sita or Gita, isn't it? Like Sita will be saying something and again Gita will be replying that. So in like that, in the dialogue form. So this is part of one such hymn, a dialogue between a sage named Vishwamitra and 2 rivers. So here we are going to witness one dialogue, okay, one dialogue during that time of this Rigveda, okay, which is included under Rigveda. And what we will know, we will try to understand, okay, we will try to understand our culture, okay, their culture, and what dialogue they are doing and why they are worshipping them, okay. So this was the dialogue between Vishwamitra, okay, Vishwamitra, a sage Vishwamitra, there is a Rishi Vishwamitra, and 2 rivers, Bias and Satluj. See, if you remember Bias and Satluj, what we have learned, these are tributaries of which rivers? Tributaries of Indus rivers, which is in the northwestern part of India, isn't it? So what we can see here, so here this also shows that as this is written under the Rigveda, that means we are particularly learning about the northwestern India, okay. And this river Indus has been included, okay, it's been considered as an important river. See, there are 2 rivers, Bias and Satluj, are often mentioned in that Rigveda, as and using Saraswati also, okay, Saraswati also, and Ganga and Yamuna are been named only once, as you will learn here, okay. So let us see the dialogue, okay, let us see the dialogue. What was the dialogue? Okay, before that, okay, this is a page from a manuscript, okay, the page from a manuscript of the Rigveda, this page, okay. We have learned about this manuscript, isn't it, which is written in palm leaves, and that palm leaves is specially prepared from the birch or bark, isn't it, that is found only in the Kashmir areas. And about 150 years ago, this was used to prepare one of the earliest printed texts of the Rigveda. So they have used this and remain a written source, and they have printed, and as well as they have translated into English, and it is now preserved in the library in Pune in Maharashtra, okay. So now let us see the dialogue between the Vishwamitra and the 2 rivers, that is the Bias, all right, Bias and Satluj. So here first Vishwamitra is, he is requesting the rivers, okay, here he is requesting the rivers so that they can cross the river smoothly. Okay, they are coming from especially in the northwestern sea, as they are talking about the river that is Bias and Satluj. Geographically, what we know, this geographically these rivers are located where? Located in the northwestern part of India. So here from that also we can conclude that, we can observe, or we can say that this Rigveda is about the northwestern part of India. So here he is requesting this river to slow down their movement so that they can cross the river smoothly, as because during that time there were no bridge, isn't it? There were no bridge made, anything. They have to cross the river using their chariots, isn't it? So that's why they are, and he is here requesting. So let us see their dialogue. Okay. O rivers, come down from the mountains like two swift horses, like two shining cows that lick their calves. You move like chariot to the sea through the power of Indra. You are full of water and wish to unite with one another. See, as the flow of the river might be very high, or force of the river is very high, and that is why he is saying that through the power of Indra. Indra is the god of warrior, isn't it? So he is requesting the rivers by respecting them as well. Okay, and by comparing those river as two swift horses. And horses, if there is so much importance of horse, okay, you will learn here in this chapter, horses and cows. Okay, and they are comparing, he is comparing this river with horses, okay, and cows as well, and requesting them to slow down their speed. Okay, the rivers, we who are full of waters move along the path of the gods have made for us. Once we start flowing, we cannot be stopped. Why do you pray to us, O sage? So river replied, we are full of water, and once we start flowing, see, you cannot you'll never witness any river which stop flowing, isn't it? In the mid, they will flow. You'll not able to stop the flow of a water, isn't it? So that's why the river were saying, we are not able to stop ourselves. Why you are praying us? So Vishwamitra told, O sisters, please listen to me, the singer who has come from a distance with his chariots and carts. Let your water not rise above our axle, so that we can cross safely. So again he is requesting, we are requesting you, so that our singers who have came from a distant place. Okay, there were some singer who came along with Vishwamitra. Okay, so they were coming from a different distance place, so he wanted them to cross the path safely. That is why he was praying the river, or he was requesting the river. So now river said, okay, we will listen to your prayer so that you can cross safely. So now the rivers replied, okay, yes, you will listen. So it doesn't mean that the rivers were talking. This, you have to connect this mythologically. Okay, you have to connect this mythologically during the periods of gods and goddess. So you cannot say that, okay, no, rivers cannot talk, or scientifically it is not possible, this, that. Okay, just you have to connect with this mythology, with gods, and you have to connect the culture. Okay, that still today also we are praying, isn't it? We are praying the water. See, water is an essential for our life, so we are praying. So just like that, he is also respecting and praying the water, so that they can slow down their movement, so that they can cross safely. Okay, so historian points out that this hymn was composed in the area where this river flows. So where was that area? Northwestern, isn't it? They also suggest that the sage lived in a society where horse and cows were valued animals, as they were compared with horse and cows. So we came to know that this was a society which they valued horse and cows. That is why the rivers are compared to the horse and cows. Okay, others rivers were also mentioned. Okay, others rivers, especially the Indus and its tributaries, and the Saraswati are also named in the hymns. The Ganga and Yamuna are named only once. So other rivers of the Indus River was considered as an important river during the Vedic age. We came to know, isn't it, from this point. And its tributaries were also mentioned. So what are the other tributaries apart from Bias and Satluj? Jhelum, Chenab, isn't it? So all these are the tributaries of the Indus River. Okay, so that was the dialogue. I hope you have understood. So in our next topic, we will learn about the cattle, horse and chariot, and you'll come to know about why they were been valued, or why they were important. Okay, why they were important. So these were been mentioned in the Rigveda also, isn't it? And these rivers were also compared with the horses and cows. And why? Let us see here. Okay, we'll come to know the important, because see, because these horses and chariots, these were used for what? For wars. Okay, see, and one more time let me remind, this Vedic area, okay, this Vedic period, this was about the early Vedic period, okay, early Vedic period, which was not organized, okay, which was not organized. So what happened, this was a small organization, and there used to be wars, small wars, to capture cattle, to capture water, to capture pasture land, or to capture people. Okay, so about that let us learn, and that is why these cattle and horses are given importance here during this Vedic period, Rigvedic period. Okay, Rigvedic. There are many prayers in the Rigveda for cattle, children, especially sons. See, again from here what we can see, before also the hymns, most of the hymns were been composed by whom? Composed by men. So here also they have many prayers for cattle and children, especially sons. That means there was a patriarchal society, isn't it, during that time. And horses. Horses were yoked to chariot that were used in battle. See, why were horses valued and praised? See, because horses were yoked to chariot. That means, see, as you have seen in movies also, isn't it, whenever there are some ancient movies or some mythological movies shown in the TV, you will see that whenever there was war, they used to come in horse, isn't it, and some of their leaders and all, they are been coming in chariot. Chariot means like rath, isn't it? So this horse are being yoked. They are this horse used to pull this chariot, isn't it? They are yoked to chariot. So that is why there was importance of horse, because they were used in the wars, isn't it, or in the battles. So which were fought to capture cattle. See, why cattle? See, again, why they were fighting for cattle here, because see, this is not that very organized age. Okay, there were little war, small wars, okay, or small wars or battles among some small organizations. So here they were fought to capture cattle also. Why? Because they need cattle, isn't it? They need cattle for milk, ghee, isn't it? So again, that ghee they are going to sacrifice to, or they are going to offer to the fire, okay, as they are praying, they are praying the Agni, isn't it? Agni, the god of fire. So battles were also fought for lands, okay, which was important for pasture and for growing hardy crops that ripened quickly, such as barley. So again, battles were, apart from cattle, what battles were fought? For land. Fought for land, because it was important for pasture, means for their horse, isn't it? For their horse, to feed them, isn't it, and also to grow some hardy crops that ripen quickly, just such as barley. And some battles were fought for water and to capture people. See, why capture people? Because these people, they are going to make them as slaves, okay, because slavery system was there. Okay, they used to capture people, and they will be making these people whatever work they wanted to perform, and they were known as das, isn't it? Das or dasyus. You will come to learn about this also as well. Okay, so such wars were being fought. Okay, for example, here is cattle, lands, water, peoples, okay, to capture people. So after the war, what happens? What they used to do, some of the wealth that was obtained was kept by the leaders, like they used to distribute, okay, during the war, whatever they have captured, now they are going to distribute. So that was kept by the leaders. There were some leaders, okay. Some was given to the priest. See, priest, the importance of priest was there, okay. Priest, why? To perform pujas and yajnas, isn't it? And the rest was distributed among the people. So some wealth was used for the performance of yajnas or sacrifice, in which offerings were made into the fire. See, again, some of the wealth were again kept aside to perform pujas or yaks, isn't it, yagnas. These were, why? These were meant for gods and goddesses. They believed on gods and goddesses, especially the god of fire. They give importance, isn't it? An offering could include ghee, grains, and in some cases animals. See, animals, they are not going to directly burn. They are going to like cut them, okay, cut them, behead them, and after that they used to sacrifice. Okay, there were sacrifice of animals during those time. Even today also you will find in many society they used to sacrifice animals, isn't it? Which is not good. Okay, so after the war, okay, so they used to distribute like this, and most men, so who used to took part in that war? Most of them were men, okay. That is why this was patriarchal society, okay. Most men took part in these war. There were no regular army, as it was not an organized society, okay. There were no regular army, but there were assemblies where people met and discussed matters of war and peace. There were small assemblies or clan, you can say, okay, especially the tribal clans and all, okay. There were such clans were there, and they were assembly, and where they will be meeting, and they will be deciding, okay, which clan they are going to fight next time. Okay, they are going to war. Okay, and they are going for war, or they are going to attack next time. So those things they used to discuss here, and after that they used to make plans. Where they used to make plans, they will be gathering, and there were assemblies, and they will be gathering there, and they will be making plans and discussed about matters of wars and peace. And they also choose leaders, okay, among them who were more brave and skillful warriors. Okay, and these skillful warriors were named as what? Raja. Okay, Rajas, you will know, but the Raja here doesn't mean the king that you will be thinking that he will be having large empire, not those type. Okay, only the name was originated from here. The leader was being named as Raja, but the Raja is not same as the one we have heard about in today's day. Okay, like after in the next chapter you will come to know more about it. Okay, but here what you need to know, that the leaders were named as Rajas. Okay, the Raja doesn't mean like he will inherit with so many slaves or so many property, not like that. Okay, he was also a common man, ordinary man, but as he was brave and skillful, he was chosen as the leaders, and they were made their Raja. So next, let us see about words to describe people. See, in history you have to relate things with the previous chapter, only then you will be you will understand very properly. Okay, I hope you have understood, and I have tried my best to make you understand properly. So relate with your previous chapters also. Okay, you have to relate, and in the next chapter, in the coming chapter, that is about the kings and kingdom, you will learn more about this, and you can relate directly. It will be easier for you to relate. So here what we are going to see in this chapter, the origin, the foundation. Okay, this is the foundation society, and in the next chapter you will see a proper kingdom and all started establishing. So this is the foundation. Okay, so now let us see how they used to describe people. Okay, this is all the foundation parts. Words to describe people. Okay, and this is about again northwestern India. Okay, northwestern India. We are learning about the northwestern India. So there are several ways of describing people in terms of the work they do, the language they speak, the place they belong to, their family, their communities, cultural practice. So let us see some of the words used to describe people found in the Rigveda. So how they used to describe the people, they were groups divided. Okay, like how they used to describe them or how they used to term them. Okay, so let us see. There are two groups who are described in terms of their work, that is the priest, sometimes called Brahmin. So the priest, they are called the Brahmin, and later on the society that you learn about the caste system and all later afterwards. Okay, so these priests are the one who comes under this Brahmin caste. During this time there was no such caste or class or anything. Okay, no such things existed, only there were some groups existed. Okay, so one of their work, like the priests, they were the Brahmin who perform various rituals and Rajas. And the Rajas, the others are the Rajas. One is the priest and another is the Raja. These were one group. Okay, these were one group, and there are other groups also. Okay, so priests are one, they are called Brahmins, and these Rajas were not like the one you will be learning about later. See, as I have told you, these leaders, these Rajas were the leaders, the skillful warriors, and as they were brave, so they are those leaders. They are not the Rajas which we have heard about, like they having kingdom and all. These Rajas later on, next chapter you will see, later on afterwards on the later Vedic period, they will become such Rajas. But during this time, in this early Rigvedic period, okay, this is about the Rigvedic, isn't it? So during this time what happened, these Rajas are the people, okay, the people who are brave and skillful warrior, they become the leaders. Okay, only the leaders, but not the actual kings that we know, that we have idea about. Okay, they did not have capital cities, palace or army, nor did they collect tax. They did not have a capital city, they don't belong to a kingdom, or they don't have an army, palace or anything. Okay, nor did they collect tax. Okay, they were common people, you can say ordinary people. Generally, son did not automatically succeeded father as Raja. See again what happens, what we have seen in kingdoms, the son used to, after the death of the father or before the death, like the father will be saying that my son will become the next king, isn't it? There is the hereditary, isn't it? It is inherited. But here it is not like that. Okay, here in this case, one who is brave and skillful becomes the other leader. It doesn't mean that the leader's son will become again leader. Okay. Two words were used to describe the people. So there was, that was about one group, isn't it? That is the priest and the rajas, and another group is also there. Two words were being described toward the people or community as a whole. One was the jana or jansi, janpat. From here, what do you mean population, isn't it? So in your next chapter it will be more clearer to you. So this is the foundation. Okay, this is the foundation society, we can say, which we still use in Hindi and other languages. The other was vish. The word Vaishyas comes from the Vaishyas. This is one of the group of the caste system, isn't it? Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, those who were connected with trading, isn't it? Business or trading. You will learn more about this in your next chapter, that is chapter number 5. So several Vis or Janas are mentioned by name. So we find reference to Puru, Jana or Vis. So these are the groups, okay, the Bharati Jana or the Vis, the Yadu Jana Vis or Yadu Jana or Vis, and so on. So among them, among these, there were some of the groups of people, and among them there used to be battles, there used to be wars. Okay, and apart from that, as we have seen that there was war to capture peoples also, isn't it? So those were these Das or the Dasyus. Okay, so let us see more about them. Sometimes the people who compose the hymns are described themselves as Aryas. See, we sometimes the one who have composed these hymns, who have written this Rigveda, okay, Rigveda, these Vedas, they describe themselves as the Aryans or the Aryas. Aryas later known as the Aryans, okay, and call their opponent as Dasas, the other group as Dasas. They are capturing these people and making them their slaves, isn't it? So that is why they are being called as what? As opponents. These were people who did not perform sacrifice and probably spoke different language. So these Dasas, okay, these were not these people were not the one who used to perform sacrifices, or they have again different language. Later the term Dasa and the feminine Dasi came to mean slaves. So the word slave, Das, it comes from this Rigvedic period. Okay, slaves were women and men who were often captured in war. See, there was war for the people also, isn't it? War for cattle, land, water and people. So why they were captured? To make slaves. Okay, they were treated as the property of their owner. The one who have captured, they will be treating them as their owners. Okay, who could make them to do whatever work they wanted, like cleaning, cooking, whatever work they used to have. Okay, they used to capture them. See, there was a slavery system also, especially in South Africa, isn't it? So all, see, if you connect, so all this thing comes from those time. Okay, so while in Rigveda was being composed in the northwest, see, we are learning about the northwest India, isn't it? Northwest of the subcontinent, there were other development elsewhere. Let us look some of them. See, in the later part of the chapter, that is about the burial sites, okay, especially about the story of megaliths, story of Inamgaon, you will learn about them. Okay, so here these things were going parallel, and here the North India was little advanced. Like in North India, what we have found literary source, that is the Vedic page, isn't it? The Rigveda. When it was a Rigveda going on in the northwestern part of in the subcontinent, in the southwestern part, there were no literary sources found. They were still living life just like as we have seen the chapter 2, like they were settled, they were agriculturists, isn't it? But they were not there were no written sources. They were still living in stone, like they were still under like sites. Okay, about them we came to know through the sites, through the burial sites of the same period, that is about 3500 years ago. Okay, the period is same, and we are going to learn about the South India. They will not see any literary source found, okay, as of North India. So from there also what we can say, North India was little in case of development, they were little advanced, isn't it? They were going in little advanced, and in South India we are going to learn about this same period, this parallel time. Okay, so from their burial sites. Okay, still just like in chapter 2, isn't it? Just like in chapter 7, through sites we came to know the history, isn't it? So just like that we are going to deal about this South India as well. So silent Sentinels, the story of megalith. So here basically we are going to learn about our South India, okay, South India, Northeast India and Kashmir area. Yeah, in our previous part what we have learned about the Rigveda, one of the oldest Vedas, isn't it, where we have found the written literature was been found, and through that we came to know about our history, but there was no such a written literature found from South India and in Northeast India or in Kashmir. Okay, so here what we have found some sites, some burial sites, okay, some grave or cemetery you can say, where more dead person are being buried, isn't it? So from there, the type of stone they have used, from their skeletons, okay, what are the objects that have been found near the skeletons, from there archaeologists have tried to understand and try to predict or presume, okay, this type of society was existed, this type of things were there, people at these, okay, from there our archaeologists have tried to presume and have tried to analyze everything, and they have come to some conclusion about which we are going to study in our chapter. Okay, so look at the illustration on the next page. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, on the next page we have a figure, you can open out. Okay, you can if you have book you can open that, and if you are having book with you, then you can open up page number 13 as well. Okay, there is one map, that map is very much important. Okay, so from that we are going to, there are sites given, isn't it, like Paleolithic sites, Neolithic sites, megalithic sites, early village, modern cities, some sites are been given. So from that map you can easily locate, okay, we are talking about that particular area. So these stones, boulders, are known as megaliths. See, megaliths, mega means big, okay, mega literally it means what, big, isn't it? From the name itself we can say it is big, so literally big stones. So here we are going to study about big stones. So their graveyards, okay, their graveyards are made out of big stone. They are still in the Stone Age, okay, they are still in the Stone Age. They are cultivated as well, they have settled and there are villages, but they are not developed. The South India and in Northeast and in Kashmir, they are not developed as much as in the northwest part of the India. They are still living in the Stone Age, we can say. Okay, so that is why we are again going to learn about, say, liths means stone, isn't it, age. So here big stones, these were carefully arranged by people and were used to mark burial sites. The practice of erecting megaliths, they are standing, okay, the stones are standing, you will see in the picture, began about 3000 years ago and was prevalent throughout the Deccan, South India, in the Northeast and in the Kashmir. So this was prevalent. The sites where been, these burial sites are been found in which place, in which area, in the Deccan, especially in the South India, Northeast and in the Kashmir. Okay, so let us see the picture that they have told us to look. See, this is the graveyard. Here these stones are standing erect, isn't it, and big stones are here, isn't it, you can see it looks very different, isn't it. And here they used to keep the dead body, okay, they used to keep the dead body, and not only one, they will be keeping more than one. About that we will learn. And see, here there is a porthole, okay, so here there is a porthole through which they will be bringing another dead body in this same area, okay, in this same area they will be keeping again another dead body. And see this topic, if you see silent sentinels, that means this stone which are standing erect, big stones, they are acting as a guard, okay, acting as a guard of whom, of these bodies, for these bodies. Okay, see, other stones are also laid down here, isn't it, and the size are all big and distinctive. So that is why this name it has been given as megalith. Okay, I hope you have understood. So some important megalith sites are shown on map 2, that is on your page number 13, not 12, okay, page number 13. While some megaliths can be seen on the surface, other megalith burials are often underground. So you can see on your map, okay, there are certain megalith sites given, like we have learned about Burjaham, isn't it, about Mehergarh, that village, about Bhimbetka we have already learned, isn't it, about Chirand. So here in this chapter we are going to learn about mainly about Brahmagiri, okay, Brahmagiri first, and after that Inamgaon. So let us start. Sometime archaeologists find a circle of stones. See here, circle of stone, the side, it is circle, isn't it, the side shape. Circle of stones, boulders, or a single large stone standing on the ground. Sometimes they will found like this, a picture which has been given, or sometimes they will found a single large stone just standing like this, and here the grave it will be here. Okay, these are only indications that they are burial beneath. So these indications, through this what they have analyzed, what they have indicated, okay, these are burial sites. Okay, so this type, see here, which you have seen in this picture, okay, this type of megalith, it is known as what? Cyst. Okay, some cysts like the one shown here have portholes which could have been used as an entrance. See here, the porthole, it is over here. Okay, and this could have been used an entrance to keep again another body. Okay, they used to keep more than one body, especially if they belong from the same family group. Okay, that we will learn here in this chapter. So for that purpose, this porthole is being made, and these stones, these big stones are in around here, just acting just like a guard. Okay, the stone boulders over here standing erect. All these burials have some common features. Okay, if you they have told that all these burials have some common features. So generally the dead buried were distinctive ports. Okay, the dead were buried with distinctive ports, with different type of ports which are called black and red ware. Also founds are tools, weapons of iron. See, the use of iron have begun in this age. Okay, and sometimes skeletons of horses, horse equipments, and ornaments of stones and gold. So they have often found these skeletal. Okay, there's a skeletal of these in this burial site with different types of objects. Okay, like some tools and weapons. Some are found, some skeletals are found with skeletals of horse as well, with horse equipments are also found, and ornaments of stones are found, and ornaments of golds are also found. That means, see, there was a belief that they used to keep an object over the dead person. That means there was a belief that there will be again life after birth. So for that purpose, they used to keep those things so that this thing will serve them in their next birth. Isn't it? Like they will keeping some granary also, isn't it? Water, granary. So all these things were been kept because they believed that there is a life after that. Okay, so see, was iron used in the Harappan cities? That we have learned they have used their bronze, isn't it? So here from in this period we came to know that iron was also used. Now they know about iron also. So see, some objects like this are been found. Okay, like iron equipment found from megalith burials, like horse equipment. This is horse equipment, isn't it? Axe, below a dagger. So this type of equipments were been found from the dead bodies of those skeletals. Okay, so, and by looking at these objects, different types of objects were found. In some dead bodies, gold objects were found, isn't it? Gold ornaments, and in some stone ornaments. That also shows that there are some social difference. Okay, so finding about social difference. So let us find out, okay, how the archaeologists have indicated that there was social difference existed during that period also. See, in our previous part also, in the Vedic literature, there was also social difference, isn't it? There was also social differences existed. Those priests, they were been considered as like a little higher, isn't it, and little educated, and the slaves, they were considered as the person who will be doing all the household chores and everything, isn't it? They used to capture them in the war. So just like that, here also some social difference existed, about which we came to know through by studying from this skeletal. Okay, studying the skeletal and objects which are found from these skeletons. Okay, in the Vedic age, how we came to know, because we have found some literary source in the form of manuscript, isn't it? So from there we came to know, but here as it was not written, it has been only assumed by the archaeologists after studying their objects, okay, which are found with skeletons. Okay, so archaeologists think that objects found with a skeleton probably belong to the dead person, isn't it? Dead person. Sometimes more objects are found in one grave than in another. So find Brahmagiri. See, in your map, if you open up your map, okay, in this PDF, I don't have that map. So if you have a book, you please open up your book. So you will find that, say, suppose this is the southern part of India, about in here, okay, here you will find this Brahmagiri. Okay, here we will find this Brahmagiri. All right, so it's somewhere here you will find it. So okay, suppose just suppose that this is your India map. Okay, so here one skeleton was buried with 33 gold beads. See how rich that person might be, isn't it? 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, 4 copper bangles, and 1 conch shell. So other skeletons have only a few ports. This find suggests that there were some differences in status among the people who were buried. Some were rich, other poor, some chief, other followers. So from that what we came to know, that our skeletal was been found with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, isn't it, 4 copper bangles. So that shows that their difference existed. In case all the other skeletals were also found like that, then we cannot assume that there was social difference, but only in some such differences was been found, isn't it? Some such jewelries were been found. So it shows that not all were rich, okay, some were rich, some were poor, so their status exists. And some chief bodies were also there, isn't it? Some were chief and other were followers. All right, so next topic, I hope you have understood. So where some burial spot meant for certain families, see, as I have told you that in that Brahmagiri, on that burial site, you will find more than one skeletal. So in that, okay, so in that case, what we came to know, that in some burial site, okay, more than one skeletal were been found. That means the family members, okay, there was family institutions over there, okay, there was the concept of family was already there during that time. So we have assumed that those belongs to their family, but they were not buried at the same time, okay, at a different time. Sometimes megaliths contain more than one skeleton. So this indicates that person perhaps belonging to the same family were buried in the same place, though not at the same time. It doesn't mean that both of them were buried at the same time, or both of them were dead at the same time. Okay, like in the person, see, suppose a person is already buried, afterwards they will bring that person through that porthole which was there, isn't it, in your picture. Through this porthole they will bring another person, and again they will bury this person over here. Okay, not only one, and another also, but not at the same time. Okay, so the bodies of those who died later were brought into the grave through the portholes. So these porthole what I was talking about. Okay, stone circles or bounders placed on the surface probably serve as a sign spot to find the burial sites, so that people could return to the same place whenever they wanted to. See, let's go back to your picture here. Okay, it will be more clear. See, they have made the signs also. See, this circle, isn't it, this was circular, and here the porthole is over here, and these big stones are standing erect, isn't it, over here. So it means that they have made some signs, okay, of their burial sites, of a particular signs are there. Okay, so that afterwards when again any person from the family is dead, they will again come here and they will bring that body through these portholes, and again they will bury that body over there. Okay, so that is why these circular and some designs were being made, so that it will look distinctive and it will be easier for them to find the sites, and they can return and in the same place whenever they wanted to. See, whenever they wanted to means whenever there is some death in their family, isn't it? So that was about the Brahmagiri. So next we are going to study about Inamgaon, okay, and special burial at Inamgaon. So we are going to study about another site that is of Inamgaon. Again, this is also, it is in your southern part. Okay, the Brahmagiri, it is here, isn't it, and Inamgiri, it is over here, okay, in this area. So find Inamgaon on map 2 again, you can find it out. Okay, it is a site on the river Goth, a tributary of Bhima. That means, see, a river is there, a river is flowing over there, that is a Krishna river, its tributary is Bhima. Again, Bhima's tributary is which? Goth. So in this area this Inamgaon is situated. Okay, so river Krishna is there, isn't it, river Krishna is there, and Bhim is its tributary of Krishna, and this Goth is again a tributary of this river Bhim. Okay, so in this area, see, people usually settle near river, isn't it, because of water. As we have already learned in our previous chapter, people usually settle where there is availability of water, isn't it. So in this area what you will found in, it is the Goth area, and it is known as Inamgaon. Okay, it was occupied between 3600 and 2700 years ago. Again, this is before Christ. Okay, this is all before Christ. Here adults were generally buried in the ground, let out straight with the head towards the north. So this was their special like feature, you can say. Okay, the dead bodies which have been found in this Inamgaon, this skeleton, their head was all towards the north. So that is why archaeologists have analyzed and have told us that these their body was laid straight. Okay, it was laid straight, and their head, this head was always in which direction? In the north direction. Okay, in the north direction. Sometimes burials were within the houses. See, another, these burial sites were within their houses only. Okay, vessels that probably contain foods and water were placed with the dead. See, again here also what you will find, vessels or containers that contains foods and water. That means again here also they believe life after death, isn't it? And here one such body was been found. Okay, one man was found buried in a large 4-legged clay jar in the courtyard of a 5-roomed house, one of the largest house at that site. So one of the largest house of that Inamgaon site, in the Inamgaon site, it was found that like in the courtyard. Okay, like suppose there is a 5-room, isn't it? This is the house, let us say this is the area over here, and they have this 5-room, and this portion will be the courtyard. So here they have found this person was been buried. Okay, the skeletal was been found from here, and in this, and it was one of the biggest house of that site. Which site? Inamgaon. Okay, so here this person was buried with 4-legged clay jars, okay, in the courtyard with a 5-roomed house, one of the largest. So probably this might be some chief or some leader, isn't it? And also one more thing, in the center of the settlement, okay, in the center of the settlement here, and this house also had granary. See, that means we have learned that agriculture, they have started adopting agriculture, isn't it? And they were farming and also herding as well as, isn't it? So that shows that they have excess grain, and there was a portion in the house to put their grains, to keep their grains for future use. So for that purpose, granary was also built. Okay, so this body was placed in a crossed leg position. You see, it was, the skeletal was found in a crossed leg position. It was not straight. Okay, as we have seen here, like some the laid out straight, isn't it? The buried in the laid out straight with the head towards the north. But this, in this case, its leg was crossed. So we don't know the reason, because we don't know, because there are no written records written, isn't it? So there might be something because of their cultures or rituals, or like he might be one of their chief, or like some main important person, isn't it? So that's why they have buried him in that way. We can only we can only assume or presume. We don't know the actual things. Okay, so see, do you think this was the body of a chief? Give reason for your answer. See, the reason is that he was buried in a very big house, isn't it, of 5-room with a granary in the center, so and with crossed leg. So some special treatment was been given to him. That is why the topic of yours also suggests that, it also says that special burial site in Inamgaon, isn't it? So next, see, before coming to our continuing your topic, we will study about some skeleton. Okay, about some skeletal studies. Let us see, like how scientists or how archaeologists, okay, how our scientists and archaeologists used to study the skeleton, and how they used to differentiate between the gender, whether that is a male or a female. Okay, and so here some explanation is given. So let us see in this. Okay, this is important for you. It is easy to make out the skeleton of a child. See, if it is easy to differentiate, isn't it, whether the skeletal is of a child or not. But what about the adult, isn't it? From it of a child, because of its small size, we can easily will be telling, okay, this is a skeletal of a small child. However, there are no major difference in the bone of a girl and a boy, and in child you will not find any difference on the bone of a girl or a child, isn't it, when they are small. But when they are men or women, we can differentiate. Okay, can we make out whether a skeletal was that of a man or woman? Sometimes people decide on the basis of what is found with the skeleton. For example, skeletal is found with jewelry. It is sometimes thought to be that is a woman. However, there are problems with this. Often men also wore ornaments. See, there are some stereotypes, isn't it, like only women are wearing jewelry. So based on that, they have said that whether we can say that if a skeletal is been found with some ornaments or jewelries, we can we consider it as a girl, as a woman? No, isn't it? Because there are problems, because during that time men also wore ornaments. Okay, men also wore ornaments. So in that way we cannot differentiate. So how we can differentiate? Let us see. So we can differentiate through the bone structure. Okay, a better way of figuring out the sex of a skeleton is to look at the bone structure. The hip, so this is the main difference. Okay, the hip or the pelvic area of women is generally larger to enable childbearing. If you see, okay, the hip area of a man is little narrow, okay, of a man is narrow and as compared to woman, and the hip area or the pelvic area of woman is larger. Okay, why it is larger? Because woman is giving birth, isn't it? Because woman is giving birth, so for that, even for that purpose, her pelvic bone should be stronger and wider, so that it will be easier for her to give birth. So this is one of the distinction that we can make through the bone structure. Okay, so these distinctions are based on a modern skeletal studies. So about 2000 years ago, there was a famous physician named Charak, who wrote a book on medicine known as the Charak's Samhita. So there was a famous physician, Indian physician, okay, his name was Charak, and he have written a book named as Charak Samhita. So there he states that the human body has 360 bones. See, it is not possible, isn't it? According to our modern skeletal studies, we don't have 360 bones, we have 206 bones, isn't it? So this is much larger than the number of 200 bones that we are recognized in the modern anatomy. But how he have 360 bones? Let us understand the reason. Charak arrived at this figure by counting the teeth, joints and cartilage. So because he have arrived that there are 360 bones, he was correct, okay, but like he have count everything, like we have 32 teeth, add more 200, add more the 32 and 200, and the joints, the ligaments, everything, cartilage, everything he was counting. But in the modern anatomy, skeletal anatomy, what we used to do, we don't count, isn't it? We don't count teeth or cartilage or ligaments of joints and anything. Okay, so here what he have done, he have counted everything. That is why he have told us that 360 bones. But see, this is before 2000 years, like just imagine how intelligent he is, isn't it? And he was a physician during that time, and he was able to come to the conclude that we have 360 bones. So that was about the skeletal, study of skeletal, how it was been recognized between a male and a female. Okay, the last topic we have is occupations at Inamgaon. See, occupations, what are the occupations? So through the remains we can say that, okay, these were the occupations. Let us see. Archaeologists have found seeds of wheat, barley, rice, pulses, millets, peas and sesame, bones of a number of animals, many bearing cut marks that show that they have been used as a food, also have been found. See, seeds of wheat, that means what we can conclude, they were agriculture, isn't it? There was agriculture practice and they were all what? Farmers, isn't it? Their occupation would be farmers. And again, from these bones of animals, and again cut marks are there, cut marks, that means they are been hunted, isn't it? These animals are been hunted, so they are still hunters also. Okay, they are farmers as well as hunters, and as well as gatherers also. How gatherers? Because see, evidence of fruits are also been found. Okay, so let us come to that afterwards. This includes cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, dog, horse, ash, pig, sambar, spotted deer, black buck, antelope, hare and mongoose, besides birds, crocodile, turtle, crab, fish. So these all animals were found, okay, with the cut marks over their bones. So there is evidence that fruits such as bear, amla, jamun, dates and a variety of berries were also collected. So that's why gatherers, isn't it? Gatherers. So what we can conclude, their occupation is they are farmers, hunters as well as gatherers. Okay, so these were their occupations of Inamgaon. So with this we have completed our chapter. Okay, so I hope you have understood. So try to connect this with the previous chapter as well. Okay, it will be easier for you to understand more, and like when you start analyzing everything and start connecting, you will understand history properly. Okay, and this class 6 history is very much important. Okay, it is your base, it is a foundation. Okay, and you will through that, if you start connecting, then in your next chapter you will learn about kings and kingdoms. So you will now know, okay, we have learned about the foundation in the previous chapter, now we are learning, okay, the next thing in the next period. So with this we have completed. Thank you for watching me. If you have any doubts or anything, do let me know in the comment section. I'll clarify your doubts. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel, and also share with your friends and family. Okay, and to also comment down your thoughts regarding today's chapter, okay, today's topic, what we have learned, so that we can have a discussion over there also. And thank you for watching me again. See you again in your next class, next video.